You're listening to a Faith Matters podcast.
It's great to be back with you. I finally have Denise in the studio with me, as I do every week, and we are looking at her blog on becoming unoffendable, and you can find Denise, just look up her name, denise.nz, which will lead you to her website, and if you look through her website, you'll find all our blogs there. It's so easy to find.
Do you mean podcasts?
Podcasts, they're all there. And all her information on the blogs that she writes every week. And this week, Denise, lead us into your writings.
Well,
I can't because my hard drive's full. You'll understand in a minute.
This week's vlog is called The Benefits of Computing. So, the thought, I had a couple of things going on in my head when I started this. And I guess this blog is just a piecing together of a whole lot of different things I've come across in recent times, and one of them is that our DNA is like think of it like a USB stick.
I'm getting this. You're talking my language.
I might be scaring some people away saying that, but our DNA is in some ways a device that can record our history, our family history, our genealogy. And I mean, it's no surprise to us that things come down through the family. When we go to the doctor's rooms, I'll often say, is there something that happens in your family health-wise? Is there a tendency there? And it can be that sort of a thing, but it can be more than just health information. It can be mannerisms. My mother actually found some of her family when she was in her 70s, and now you see her by some of her half-sisters, and their mannerisms are quite remarkable, and they lived that way for 70 plus years without ever knowing each other. So, there are family tendencies, there are
family sayings.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, there are. Find myself saying some of my parents' just oddities that might come out, and I go, oh, there's my mother, or there's my dad, like that's what they used to say. Yeah.
Well, some things you pick up from having them repeated as a child, and then you say them as an adult, and you're just like, this doesn't even make sense in this context. Like my mum used to have a little pet name for someone, and she just, in certain circumstances, she would always say this pet name, and now I say it, and I'm just like, this person isn't even alive anymore. Like, why on earth am I saying this? It doesn't make any sense. And yet I do it. But you can have even stored traumas. You can have grievances passed down through DNA.
Let's just go there a little bit, because that's quite a big one, Denise. Like when you've got a family that is angry at somebody else, and it becomes a generational thing, doesn't it? It just travels on down, and we forget that we can make choices on our own, but we don't. We carry down the trauma, the grief, the anger, and it stays in us because it's been told to us. The stories have been told to us.
It's literally programmed into our DNA.
Yeah, hard to change that too.
Yeah.
And then you become the black sheep when you do, because you pop out and, you have a different thinking, mindset, or maybe a heart towards something, and that doesn't sit well with the rest of the family. So it can be hard changing those things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair call. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody about that sort of thing recently, and he'd had a conversation with someone, and he'd heard the hurt, and it was a hurt that happened many generations ago. It wasn't her personal experience, it was the story of generations. And he wasn't trying to deal with it or heal it or anything in any way, but he just asked the question, what do you actually want things to look like? Like, if you could actually imagine a healed version of this environment, what would that look like?
Oh, I like that. That's really good. We just want to cut that out and put it out there, if there was a healed version of this, what would it look like? A great question, Denise.
But she wasn't willing to go there, and I think that's very common, especially when people have gone through some hard stuff and they're not ready to deal with it. They're just not going to deal with it. But anyway, thinking about that from sort of a computer perspective, and then I looked up, I was trying to think of the word defragmentation. I don't know if you've ever done defragmentation on your computer.
Your voice is very low there. Drifting out. I understand it not.
So I was trying to find that word, but I couldn't quite remember the word at the time. And anyway, I came up on this website, and it said if you're needing to clean up the files on your computer, and it said there are 3 signals that you need to clean up your computer, and it's that 1, your computer is taking longer and longer to boot up. And I was just like, apply that to the human condition. Your computer is running slower than usual, and you are getting error messages.
Oh, Denise, I need defragmentisation. My poor hard drive is so full, I'm leaking.
But it's fascinating because, you think of those things taking longer and longer to boot up. Well, when we've had a sleep, but we don't feel refreshed at all. Like there's a signal going right there. If you wake up in the morning and you're not able to just get up and get going, there's something else going on.
Yeah.
You're running slower than usual. Well, flashing lights here. Yes. There is something going on that needs to be dealt with. Or you're getting error messages, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, you could take that in all sorts of directions. It could just be fumbling. It could be illness. It could be all sorts of things that your system's showing up errors.
I feel I could tick off 2 of those. Waking up still tired. What was the other?
Slowing down, slower than usual, and an error message.
And I do feel a bit full at the moment, but I'm very aware of it too, and so something needs to be released out of the hard drive to free me up a little bit. And that will happen, and I give myself some reprieve knowing that I'm going to sort that out. But it can be hard, when we're really full and the next thing happens. It'll be the one that'll just take our knees out because we've got no more room left. And we kind of say that to ourselves, I've got no room left. It's jam-packed in there. So it's at this point we need to do something for self. Yeah, I probably need to go for a good walk, actually, Denise. I just thought about that along the beach. Might clear my mind a bit. That would be a lovely thing to do. Listen to the birds, and, I always connect really well to nature, and I can defragmentation my mind in those environments, so there's one little tip, I guess. Get out in nature and just breathe. Take some really good deep breaths.
So just as we're talking, this isn't in the blog, but I don't know about what comes up on ads on your phone or on your computer when you're looking at stuff, but mine keeps telling me that if your storage is full, old people will individually go in and delete individual photos, and I'm just like, guilty. I am not old, but I can completely identify with that. But then they say, go and get this app, and it will just clean your computer without deleting stuff. It'll get rid of duplicates, and it'll do this and it'll do that. And I think, okay. Reality says that sometimes, there might be one thing that's glaringly obviously taking up all our space, but sometimes it's not necessarily that we've got too many individual things going on, but there's actually a program running in the background, and I do talk about that in the blog, because often when you've got stuff going on in the background, that's taking your battery life, that's taking your energy, that's taking actually some of your headspace has to be processing this thing that's in the background. And so I wonder whether when we're feeling a bit slow, maybe there are a few error messages going on, if actually closing some of those tabs that are open and whirring in the background. Actually, when I was writing my blog, I almost put it in there. I counted, I had 38 open tabs on my... I had several windows of my internet, whatever program it was, and there were I had 3 of them, and so I counted. I had 2 open, 1 on each screen, and 38 of them were on the screen in front of me that I could click into at the time, and I thought, I better close some of these.
Messy. That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I'd been doing research, and I didn't want to lose my places, so I'd left these things open. But it's, just the reality of life. I don't know if you've ever experienced, when I was young,
really, Denise? Sorry.
Sorry, that was a aside.
She looked so deep in thought then, I just had to do that. You're still very young.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
I had so many things going on in my head, and we actually had a family. Again, I almost put this in the blog, but I didn't. But we had a family who came and stayed with us for 3 months because their house was getting finished and they didn't have anywhere else to stay. So we had a little unit. So they went and stayed in there. Sometimes they came in and their kids are a similar age to ours, so they came into our space a bit. And I was at the overload stage where I would see something on the floor and I would think every time I walked past it, I really should pick that up. But I never had the headspace to do it. And so it sat there for some of them 3 months. My house used to be a pigsty. It's not so much anymore.
It's not. I've been there. It's fine. It's beautiful.
But there was so much in my head. I was an introvert who had 3 preschoolers, and I couldn't function because I didn't get any breaks. And I can remember one of them saying after they left our place, one of the adults saying, I just couldn't live like that. Like they endured my style of householdness when they were there. But he was like, I'm actually really thankful that is not my daily experience. And it's
I feel like giving you a hug, Denise. You're okay. It's all right.
But I watched a friend just walk down her hall and she was like, oh, that shouldn't be there, and picked it up and took it with her and put it somewhere. And I was like, what? Like, how did she do that? And the difference in the hallway just by her picking that thing up. I was just like, if only it was that easy. So I went home and I picked something up and I put it away. I was like, wow. So even this week there was this cockroach on the floor, dead.
Thank goodness.
And I walked past it a couple of times, but I could feel it taking up headspace.
Yeah.
I was like, in the back of my head, I just know that there's a cockroach there that needs dealing with. I could either walk past it and beat myself up every time I walk past it and think I should really be picking that up, or I could just pick it up, put it in the bin, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I was so proud of myself because I created headspace, and I knew that was just closing a tab.
Yeah, I think, we can get, especially as when we're young mums, and, we can get really full with what's happening in the day, with the things that we're doing, and chores, and kids, and questions, and food, and cleaning up, and just picking that one thing up that's bugging us, and we just pass it by. We just keep passing it by. But you're talking about actually engaging and doing something about that in the moment, rather than allowing it to sit in the back of the mind and knowing that it's running around there wanting to do something that you're not doing.
Yeah, well, last year I had a meeting that I do the minutes for, and the meeting's in February every year. And previous to that, when I'd done the minutes, I did them within a couple of days. But the last 2 years, last year I had the meeting, a couple of weeks later, or less than a couple of weeks later, about 10 days later, my son was getting married at our house. So I had a lot going on. Yeah. 2 weeks after that, I started travelling, travelled off and on for the next little while. And so by the time I got home, got settled enough that I actually was ready to do these minutes, 4 months had passed. For 4 months, I had in the back of my mind, I really need to do those minutes. I really need to do those minutes. I really need to do those minutes. I really need to do those minutes.
Ooh, ouchie, I feel the pain.
And when I finally did the minutes, I was like, woohoo, I'm free until February.
You sound like a student. Students are like this. I remember doing my bachelor's, and we always have things sitting when you're a student in the back of the mind, what you need to do. And if you're a procrastinator like me, I would leave it last minute. But it would be, if I'd really thought about it, I was tiring myself out because the message for me to get something done was constantly there. Mm-hmm. And the pressure you feel is like, the more you feel it, the less you want to do it and the more you want to avoid it.
Yeah, so this year in February, I literally forced myself to sit down the next day and did the minutes like a day early. And it's done. And every time I think about it, I have this moment of freedom instead of this moment of, dread. No, I have to do that still. And the difference is huge. And it's just the smallest thing. Like, it just took me 3-4 hours and I was done. And I don't have to do it anymore because it's ticked off. It's closed. That tab is closed until next February.
And you get a Dr. Feelgood feeling from that, eh? You get a bit of a rise in your dopamine because you're like championing yourself. Like, yeah, girl, you did great. Yeah. You're a champion.
Let's see if I can do it again next year.
But it's so true, though. We can, the conversations we're having is to bring people to their own thoughts about what they might be holding for themselves. And if you're feeling tired or you're feeling like you're just playing the same old loop over again and again, it's time to check in with the hard drive and see perhaps what's going on in there, what's sitting in the background, what haven't I dealt with that is pressing on me. Yeah. Hey, you're listening to Maree and Denise on Faith Matters, Becoming Unoffendable. You can find Denise's blogs online. Denise.nz is her website. Otherwise, you can look under Denise J. Gardner. And you will find her on Instagram and Facebook.
I am so impressed.
Thank you, Denise. It's just taken me probably a year to get all that correct.
2 years.
And even my hard drive is 2 years. She's just going to correct me. 2 years. Oh, my gosh, that's terrible. That's because my hard drive is full. I'm doing very well today.
You're doing great, actually.
And your blog is all about this. And I was like, couldn't have been perfect. Perfect timing for me, Denise. We're going to start back into our convo on closing the loop. And so we've been talking about when things play over and over, or when things are playing in the background of your mind and you may not realise the energy it's taking to, bring it forward and have a look at this so you know what is happening in that poor old brain of yours. Yeah, and closing the loop, Denise, tell us a little bit about closing these tabs.
Yeah, so I actually came across, I think it was a reel just a few weeks ago, but I must confess I did not record who it was, so I couldn't find it again. But I shared the insights I got out of this reel with a friend, and she struggles to sleep, and I just told her the things that I learned on this reel, and she actually started doing them, and she suddenly went from 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours sleep a night to 7, 8, 9.
Oh wow! Okay, give us what it is.
And I
need
like,
that.
Wow! So I don't have an issue with sleep. So for me, it's just like, oh, that's interesting, but it didn't make a life. It wasn't life-changingly different. But for her, it has been.
Oh yeah, it would have been. For sure.
So in this reel, they were talking about like when the military, when they've been out to a traumatic event, or even if they're just doing boring stuff, when they come back, there's certain disciplines that they just do. So the one that I can remember is they clean their gear. So you sort of have that image straight away of military sort of taking out their equipment, cleaning it all down, putting it away so it's exactly where it's supposed to be, I guess. So the next time they need it, they can just grab it and run. They know where it is. They know it's ready. All those sorts of things. So whether they're exhausted, whether they are fresh, whatever they do when they come back, that's part of their process. And so it was talking about that as being closing the loop.
Yeah, I can see how that would work. That would work for me because I would feel like I'd finished a task.
Yes. And so what my friend, I was talking to her a few days later, and she was saying, well, if I didn't get to the end of my to-do list for today, I take them and I begin a new list for tomorrow, and I can close the loop on today because I've done what I can do, and if I couldn't get it done, either I'm going to push through and get it done tonight before I go to bed, or I'm going to put it on my list for tomorrow so that it's captured. My brain doesn't have to be thinking, oh, I must remember to do that. It's already captured for tomorrow. So when she gets up tomorrow, she can go, okay, well, what's for today?
Yeah.
Without her brain trying to hold on to a whole lot of stuff while she's sleeping. And I was just like, wow. So for her, it was that. It was lists. And I went, wow, that's a really interesting way of closing the loop. For me, I was thinking about, if you've got all those things running in the background, it might be a blitz. Like, for example, I had that 4 months. I had that, I've got to get those minutes done. Well, when I finally sat down and did them, now I can close the loop on that, close the tab on that. Okay, I'm actually done. So maybe for somebody it's a blitz on just getting some of those things done that have been weighing on them. It might mean a Saturday or something that they do things they wouldn't normally do, but they just clear them out off the decks, get them out their system.
Feels like a relief already.
Yeah. Isn't it, though?
I know. Because you're looking for that clean slate, eh? You're looking for that space to breathe.
Yeah. And so she put that into place and found it amazing. The next thing, it was talking about activating lactic acid, and it talked about doing wall squats, like leaning on the wall, sliding down a little bit, holding, so that you get that lactic acid burn. And I don't know why they said about the lactic acid. There might be something specifically in there. I looked it up. I couldn't see anything that made sense. But what we do know is that exercise releases all our feel-good endorphins, our dopamine, our whatevers, all our feel-good hormones that would counteract and balance stress hormones. So if we've got adrenaline and cortisol coursing around and we go out for a walk, like what you were talking about before, maybe going out to the beach and just having a little bit of space, fresh air, and, connecting with the ground, maybe get in the water, those things, even if I don't understand their thing about the wall squat. But she was doing wall squats, so that she took on the lactic acid, my friend. She took on that idea, so she's been doing wall squats. But even if that's not your thing, maybe even just going for a little bit of a walk before the sun sets, just to enjoy the sunset. Yeah. Something like that at the end of the day.
For sure. Just talking about it makes me feel peaceful.
Or stretches. In my world, for my back, I've got a little series of stretches that I find really helpful. So even if I can just find time each day to do those little stretches, my whole body functions better because of it. So that was the second thing. And the third thing was creating a schedule. So whether it's a regular bedtime, whether it's a regular morning start. And I know there are seasons of life that's really difficult. But I guess we know that our bodies are really adaptable. And sometimes we kind of push that to the extreme. And we actually, by completely, certainly when kids are little and you wake up because somebody small has come into your room and is, whacking your arm or whatever it might be, you wake up. It's not necessarily how you would have liked to have, nor at what time you would have liked to, or whatever. So there are certainly seasons where that sort of thing is difficult, but if you can find something that your body can go, that's I knew that was going to happen, I feel safe there. So it might be a regular routine before you go to bed. It might be that on a certain day of the week, you always do this one thing, whether it's going, a few years ago, my husband started a routine on a weekend morning. If he has the chance, he will go up to a local cafe and sit and do some journaling for a little bit.
Right,
Which he never used to do, but he finds it really helpful. And so that's a little routine that his body can go, oh, it's my day off, I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, I remember doing that in my studies. Often I would go to the cafes down here and just sit and have a coffee, read a book, just do nothing really. Often somebody would walk in and they'd sit down and have a coffee with me, and yeah, but I had gotten into a routine where I definitely saw that as my downtime. Yeah.
I mean, it might be different for somebody who is an extrovert and gets the energy from being around people. It might be that every Thursday evening you catch up with certain friends, or something that could become something for you to look forward to. It doesn't, like, I do some things once a week, and so I actually don't eat one day a week, but when I first start doing it, if I've had a break from doing it, it's quite tricky. But as soon as I've kicked into the rhythm, even once a week, my body's like, oh yeah, cool, it's Wednesday, I know that.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes easy because my body expects it. When I stop and start, it's like, what are you doing?
So it likes routine.
Yeah. And so anything that you can do, even if it's only a weekly routine, even if it's not possible to do it every day, then your body can go, I've got that to look forward to, or I'm prepared for that.
Yeah. You can, even, I was thinking about, animals. When we pet animals and we cuddle them and we communicate with them, it sets off oxytocin in us, and that's a Dr. Feel Good feeling. It helps us to feel loved and connected, and so that's another good way too, is if you've got animals around you, go and tune in with the animals and just drift off a little bit and enjoy their company. Anything that will get us away from the chatter in our mind. Yeah.
Another thing that could clear the decks, if you're thinking of what you can do, especially if you've got hurts and things going on, is actually processing those, forgiving a person, which often we don't really want to do because we think that that's letting them off the hook, but actually it's ourselves that we've got on the hook. So when we can actually let that thing go, it can clear a whole lot of...
Can clear the deck.
The brain power, heart strings, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When I think back in my own life, there was a situation that held me captive for many years, and God actually brought me through that and understanding what forgiveness was, and it was about me being set free rather than the other person. I had chained myself to the trauma, and the trauma was playing out continuously in my life and reminding me of, how I saw myself in that trauma, which wasn't a truth in my everyday life. And so I was living out of something that was really distressing for my system and for me, and for me to be able to rise above that, I had to clear the decks, like you say. I had to find a way through this that wasn't going to ruin my whole life, and I did, and I didn't find it from people around me, and I didn't even know how to look for it, actually, Denise, but God gave me a vision one day, and I worked that vision out in my life and did what God asked me to do, and I felt I was able to forgive, move on, and I've never picked it up again.
Wow.
In fact, even if I cast my mind there, as traumatic as that was, I'm okay. I'm not thrown into deep trauma or shock or anything. I see it now as something I can look at and use to help other people.
Right.
And myself.
Wow.
Forgiveness is a big thing, and it took me a long time to figure out what and how do I do this, because no part of my body wanted to forgive. I didn't want revenge. I just didn't know how to let it go. And to find the peace and forgiveness is a real gift.
Wow. So that's kind of where I went this week. So thinking of our DNA as a storage system. You know, we've got our memory, we've got our brains, which is obviously a different storage system. To be fair, different memories can lodge in different parts of our body too. Our whole body can be a storage system.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and they become unwell.
Yeah. So perhaps if there's a lot going on for us, sometimes we need to reboot the whole system and have a complete change. But the cool thing about a computer is that you can update it. You can do a system upgrade. You can get a new processor. You could get more memory. You can do the different things. Even if something's, say your keyboard's got sticky and it's not functioning anymore, you can get a new keyboard. The thing with a computer, even if you've got something on a USB stick like we're talking about, it's not stuck there forever. It's actually possible to delete files that we're not finding helpful, things that we don't need anymore. I mean, that might be a thing, that you've had tools and resources that you've used through a certain season, and it gets to the end of that season, you don't need them anymore.
For sure. Yeah.
So that clearing, it might just be one thing. It might just be one thing that has been going on in the back of your mind, and if you could clear away that one thing, maybe that might make a really real difference to the rest of your world.
Yeah. Another good way that I kind of manage things now too is I give myself permission. You know, as kids we were often told what to do, and the mother in us and or the adult figure in us, always kind of growling, you should be doing this, you need to do that. Sometimes it's good just step back and give yourself permission to lay that down. I give myself permission to not do anything right now, and that can be quite powerful because when you're somebody who does what they're told and those childlike features don't leave us just because we become an adult. There's still that burning in the inside of us that wants to react to something. So, giving yourself permission to not worry about that right now, to lay it down, to I'll pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah, to make a record of it and go, I'll deal with that at another time. And when you set that time, your body can relax because it knows that you're going to do it then. It's not trying to hold it in the meantime, just in case.
Yeah. You've given it permission, let it go. Well, it's been great to have you join us today. And if you're wanting to know what our blog was about, it is the benefits of computing. Going to be an awesome one for you to be able to think over this week for yourself. If your hard drive is full and you feel like you're leaking out, just like me, take some of these.
I'm concerned about the leaking.
I know, but never mind. Not quite literally. Okay, no, just in my mind, there's lots of things that are flowing around in there, and I'm going to deal with some of them today. So, yeah, that'll feel good, Denise. I think your blog was very timely for me, and I hope it was for someone else out there as well. So, thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to a Faith Matters podcast. If you have questions, email us on faithmatters98.1fm@gmail.com.